in today's video, I thought I would share with you guys some tips and advice for you incoming freshmen. I'm so sad because this is my last sit-down video in my dorm, so since I only have a couple weeks left of my freshman year, I thought I would pass on over some tips and advice that I think would be very useful for you guys. So yeah, let's just get into the video. Okay, so my first tip that I have for you guys is just start making friendships and getting to know people now before you guys go into your freshman year in college. I know with my school at U of A, like we have like the schools app, so like you were able to communicate with other incoming freshmen. They have this for like a lot of other schools, and they have Facebook pages and things like that. It's like super helpful to get to know people before you go into your freshman year. When you come to school, like you're gonna recognize so many people you talk to, and like you're already gonna know people. I would definitely recommend you guys getting to know people and meeting people now this summer before entering your freshman year. My second tip for you guys is to not have 8 a.m.s. Really try to avoid this. I think it's pretty obvious that you'd want to avoid it, but in my case, a class that I had to take, the only time it was offered was at 8 a.m. on Friday, and it was math class, and there was no other way around it. So if you have to take an 8 a.m., I would just recommend having a gap in between your next class. So I had an 8 a.m. and then my next class didn't start till 1. So as soon as I came back from my class, I napped for a couple hours, got up, went to have lunch, and then go to my next class. That saved me. If I didn't have that, if I had classes right after the 8 a.m., it would have been brutal. So I would just recommend that because, you know, like when you hear that alarm go off, you just think, you know what, in an hour I'm get to go back to bed. So if you have to have an 8 a.m., just make sure you have a gap in between your next classes. My third tip, it's going to be not to bring many clothes and shoes to college. While watching videos before I entered my freshman year, a lot of people said this, so I really try to take that advice and not bring as much. And even thinking that I didn't bring a lot, I still brought way more than I needed to. I brought half of my closet, I think, and what I have in my wardrobe right now, I literally never wear, because in college there's like either two types of things you're gonna wear. Either clothes that you're gonna be wearing in class, which is like t-shirts and stuff, or clothes that you're gonna be wearing for going out, and there's never really an in-between. And the in-between was like stuff I wore in high school. Like I never wear that now, like ever. So just really think of like pieces that you're actually going to wear and need all the time. And same with shoes. I only brought shoes that I knew I would wear all the time, and I use all of them. There are a couple pairs that I only wore during recruitment that I wish I had my parents just take back. Try to make sure you limit yourself to how many things you bring, especially since you're not going to have so much room, especially t-shirts, because you are going to get so many t-shirts from school, whether like from rushing or just throughout the year, be getting so many t-shirts. So really try and limit how many t-shirts you bring as well. My fourth tip is actually go to class. I really don't understand people who don't go to class. I've like overheard so many people be like, I'm just gonna skip class today. Like what? Like you're paying so much money to come here and go to school. Like why would you not go to class? Especially because it's not like your typical Monday through Friday 8 to 3 o'clock classes. Like your schedule is so spread out throughout the week. You really do not need to miss, because you never know when a situation is gonna come up throughout the semester where you have to miss class, or if you're gonna be like going out of town, you wanna make sure you have that free absence to use. So just go to class, because you pay so much money to go to school and it's really worth it in the end. Okay, my fifth tip is to go to games and get involved. Getting involved is probably like my most important tip when you're in college, or even if you're in high school or anything you do. Getting involved is so important to make sure that you are having the best experience that you can have. If you're not involved in taking advantage of different opportunities on campus, like you're gonna be bored out of your mind. You want to have something that's going to keep you busy and something that's going to make you want to get up in the morning and be excited for. Whether that's joining a club, joining a sorority or fraternity, getting a job, anything on campus, just make sure that you're getting involved. With getting involved, I would say if you guys go to a school where you have sports, or where sports is like a big deal, I highly recommend you guys going to the games. I go to U of A, we have huge football games and basketball games, and so many more sports, and people on games would be like, oh, I'm not gonna go to the games. I'm like, you guys, we're so lucky to go to a school where we're able to go to these really fun football games, and it's so nice. Like why not take advantage of that? And they're so much fun. Even if you don't stay the entire game, go at least for like the first half. Like they're so much fun and they're so worth it. You're gonna be like so glad that you're there with your friends, like cheering on your team. With that being said, if you guys didn't see my experience video, I did mention these watches from the College Watch Company. I'm so excited to wear these for tailgates. So they actually gave me a 15% off discount code for you guys using Amanda15, where you guys can use that code to get 15% off your purchase of any of the college watches that they have through the College Watch Company. I'll have that link below. This video is not sponsored, but I just thought I'd mention it because they're seriously so awesome. So go to games and get involved. Okay, my next tip for you guys is to be a good roommate. So I talked to a lot of girls like before I came here about like being roommates, and I just wanted to make sure I found one who we really seemed like the same person, you know, so things went smoothly, like, you know, we got along really well. And I actually found that like me and my roommate are literally like the best roommates for each other. We have very similar personalities, and we never had an issue this entire year, which we are so lucky for. Because with that being said, I think 8 out of 10 people I talked to this year have bad roommate or suite-mate situations. It's very, very rare when you actually have a good roommate and suite-mate situation. A lot of the complaints were like people who were slobs, and you guys, like, it's not hard to be a clean and good roommate. Like, pick up after yourselves, don't touch your roommate's things without asking, make your bed. My parents like hate this because I'm like really messy at home, but knowing that I'm coming to college and I'm gonna have a roommate that I'm living with, I want to be a good one. So my 7th tip for you guys is to make friends in your classes. This is something that I found super helpful. It's pretty rare that you're gonna end up having someone that you already know in your classes, so making sure that you make a friend in all your classes is super helpful for times where you're gonna need to ask questions and be like, hey, is this due tomorrow? Hey, like, I need help with this, you know, anything. Like, you just want to make sure you have someone in each of your classes that you could refer back to. Okay, my next tip is something that I definitely could have done way more, is to stay active. This is something that, again, I definitely could have done a lot more. I would get on health kicks where I would go to the gym a lot, and then as soon as like I got sick, which was pretty often, I wouldn't go because I was sick, and then I like stopped going after that. So, and then I would get in a health kick again and go to the gym all the time, and then it was the same cycle all the time. But this is super important because especially taking advantage of your rec center. Most colleges, the rec center is a part of your tuition, so you guys want to make sure that you're actually utilizing your rec center and going to the gym and just like being active, so you guys avoid that freshman 15. So my 9th tip for you guys is to balance your social life and school and academics and extracurriculars. Balancing it all is so important. With anything that you do, you want to make sure like you have a balance. So balancing your social life, your school, your homework, your extracurriculars, you want to make sure you're able to do it all and juggle it and not focus too much on one thing. So if you're like taking all these classes, yes, we're here for school, but at the same time you're also here for the experience. You don't want to look back and be like, dang, like I wish I wasn't too focused on school and like enjoyed myself a little more. Or you also don't want to be focusing too much on going out and partying, because that's not good for you either. You know, you're here for school. With that, you want to make sure that you're getting still good and get good grades and putting school as number one, and that being a priority because you're here for school. Totally fine to go out, but make sure that you're balancing everything and just want to make sure that you're enjoying yourself and having a good experience while getting good grades. Okay, so my next tip for you is if you guys go out, I'll show you guys what I did with my key. So everyone does this. Everyone puts like their key to their dorm room like on a hair tie. So I did that, and I just put it onto my keychain here so I can easily just take it off when I go out. So when I go out, I just take this and put this on my wrist, and then I will take my CAT card or take your student ID, put it in my pocket. That way I'm not carrying my keys everywhere. Not only if you're going out at night, even if like you're going to class or something. Yeah, and then after when you like come back, you can easily just put your key back onto your keychain. So that's just like a little tip for you guys. Okay, so my next tip, I know we're freshmen, you guys are going to college, and if you do choose to drink, can't stress this enough, like to really try to avoid binge drinking, especially like the first few weeks of school. I remember the first few weeks of school, there was ambulances like in and out of like our campus and our dorm all the time, because it's everyone's first time with, you know, with freedom and like being away from home without their parents, so everyone binge drinks all the time. But this is so like, really make sure you guys utilize this tip and advice because it's so unsafe. More often than not, you're not gonna know the people you're going out with, especially the first few weeks of school, because you know, you just met them, so you don't know really who you can trust yet. You want to make sure that you're not binge drinking and you're still able to be aware of your surroundings and get to know the people you're going out with and that you can trust them, and make sure you can get back safely, all that. So if you do choose to drink, make sure that you're being safe about it and do not drink and drive. Use Uber or Safe Ride or anything. Those are all my tips for you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and really use these tips. These are just tips that I found were super helpful for me, and I thought I would share with you guys. So if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.